welcome back to Shop Life. Here's a quick video on how to adjust your front bumper on an E46. So you would use this technique if you had an OEM bumper that's just having a little bit of fitment issues, or even if you have an aftermarket bumper that's fitting pretty well, but you just have minor tweaks that you need to do. What I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you adjustment to go both up and down as well as in and out. So let's go and look at the car that we're going to be working on. So we have an 01 BMW 325i right here. It is a sedan. I'm going to go ahead and show you the two little tricks to adjust the bumper. So first thing what you want to do is you want to get underneath the bumper, get an extension with a T50 socket, Torx 50. Then you're going to get something to lay on the ground. Once you get underneath, you're going to look for the two holes on the bumper. It's going to be in the middle of the bumper on the bottom. So what you're going to do is you're going to go through the hole. So when you go through the hole, you're going to find a T50 bolt. What that bolt is, it bolts the bumper shocks into the bumper support. So we're going to loosen both of those bolts, and that will allow us to move this bumper back and forth. So we're going to do this one right here, and one on the other side. And then here's the other hole. Alright, that side's loose. This side's loose. Now we can actually wiggle the bumper around. Alright, so what you want to do is you want to get a helper to tell you where it is properly aligned. So this one, it just needs to go up a little bit, and you can also adjust in and out. And what that's going to change is this right here. So if you're looking at the bumper from the top of the car, you'll see that the bumper follows the angle of the fender. So you want to get this lined up properly. So as you can see right here, it's pushed out a little bit too much. So you can push it in, just like that. And you're going to want to have someone hold the bumper while you tighten the bolts back up. So let me go ahead and get both sides aligned properly, and then I'll tighten up the bolts. As you can see, this side is pushed in a little bit too much, so we're going to pull it out a little bit. Just like that. And now we can go ahead and tighten those bolts. Just make sure that you keep the gaps in mind whenever you tighten them. So get someone to hold the bumper for you while you tighten it. You can also adjust the bumper in terms of how far in and how far out it goes, or how far out it is pushed out towards the fender, by removing the bumper and adjusting the bracket that the bumper actually retains into, that is attached to the fender and the apron. I have a separate video on this, and it's shown in my how to remove your front end on the E46 video, which I'll link down below. And in that video, you'll be able to see the brackets I'm talking about. And for that, you will have to remove the bumper, and you will have to remove the headlight so you can actually adjust it properly. So let me go ahead and tighten this back up, and then we'll look at the final product. Alright, now that everything's tightened up, we can go and look at the gaps. So as you see, this gap is pretty much symmetrical to the other side. The only gap issues that we have now is the gap in between the fender and the bumper on this side, and the same with the other side. So the reason those gaps are there is because of the brackets that are holding the bumper into the fender. Those brackets need to be adjusted. And like I said, I have a video on this where I remove the front end that shows you where those brackets are and how to move them around. So all you would do is you loosen the two bolts, get it to your desired height, and go ahead and tighten them back down. So if your car's been in a wreck before, chances are that the radiator support itself is actually bent, or the bumper shocks can be bent, or even the bumper support itself can be bent. So even if when you try to adjust it, if one of those things are bent, your bumper is never going to align with the rest of the panels, either the hood, the fenders, or even the headlights. It won't align because that radiator support is a metal piece, but that is pretty much where everything else attaches to. So you want to make sure that your front end parts, all of them, are not warped or bent before you try to adjust it, because that could be one of the reasons why nothing's lining up. So this car was originally, it had been bumped in the front sometime, and we actually went ahead and replaced the radiator support. I also have a video on that. When I remove the front end, you can see all that, and that's in the same link that I'll link down below. So you can see how to replace it if you need to. And besides that, that's it for this DIY, guys. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.